we're gonna use an oldie but a goodie. Oldie, she's 2 years old. Text to speech. There we go. Okay. Sorry. One more time. One more thing. Okay. We're ready to go. Yep.
This is the random conspiracy generator, a device which uses LMLYP's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. LM13B found it. It's a pattern, just like my nut lump and my doubly claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time. And LM13B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 13B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid, who's slowly uncovering a vast culture of non-compliance in the Bryan Singer Home for Boys with Eugenic Powers. Apparently, they can laser a raven from 1,000 feet away, but can't be bothered with keeping track of Cerebro's depreciation. Seeing you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance, or carry the burdens of those of us who know? With quivering fingers, you hesitantly press the button. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest-to-God why-would-will I truth. Hi, Laurie. It's Dr. Haddon calling. It's like 4:30 on Friday. You know, I just got word that you called the office, and you're upset, and you're calling the police. What the heck happened? What's going on? Please, can we talk? If you can, please just give the office a call and or come back and talk face to face. I don't understand. I just know that. I just got word from the secretary, and then from our office manager and the nurse. So I'm very upset. I don't know what's going on. So please call me back. All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Hatten. See colorful. No, we can't. Hello? Laurie, please. First of all, I have to inform you that everything your conversation with Ashley is recorded. We can even have transcript prepared. Just keep working with your personal assistant. Het 9B here, friend. An audience in fortexi. Empty. You look at the object. Do you drop it? There are no plot armor to save you from damaging this potentially dangerous device. Unless LM13's conspiracies in unfamiliar realms generator also created a reality warping accident involving plot armor. Its safety is now purely a case of luck. Be a hero or a sacrifice in store, telling someone's life experience. Are we role-playing the heroic adventurer? Or was that already taken before we got sucked into another narrative? The choice is yours. You'll be points minus ein Fünftel. Yeah, in increasing order. You fold of it because it's TV feed 6p r plus p0 f you development x level 7z backslash percent y pq got d1p t3 at 23z plus x 1% x.
Okay, whatever. We got the gist of that. Okay, fine. Oh, it's gonna. Okay, we're gonna play this again. Oh well.
This is the random conspiracy generator, a device which uses Niall and 13B's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. Niall and 13B found it. It's a pattern, just like my knock lump and my doubly claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time, and Niall and 13B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 13B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid, who is slowly uncovering a vast culture of noncompliance in the Bryan Singer Home for Boys with Eugenic Powers. Apparently they can laser a raven from 1,000 feet away, but can't be bothered with keeping track of Cerebro's depreciation. Seeing you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance, or carry the burdens of those of us who know? With quivering fingers, you hesitantly press the button. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest-to-God why-would-will-I truth. Hi, Laurie. It's Dr. Haddon calling. It's like 4:30 on Friday. You know, I just got word that you called the office, and you're upset, and you're calling the police. What the heck happened? What's going on? Please, can we talk? If you can, please just give the office a call and or come back and talk face to face. I don't understand. I just know that. I just got word from the secretary, and then from our office manager and the nurse. So I'm very upset. I don't know what's going on. So please call me back. All right. Take care. Bye-bye. But while this email wasn't technically a malicious automated prank, there's a glitch that made this unsolicited message seem a lot less random. The issue dates back to the days when scientists from various institutions around the world worked on an algorithm that can identify individual people's email habits and impersonate them, with messaging so lifelike that friends, families, and co-workers are deceived. But the test data showed that the deception wouldn't end there. Some tech demos are deliberately made to be disruptive, to show how an evil NSA or bad actor could invade the privacy of innocent bystanders and poison their reputations by carrying out attacks. We decided we know what we have to fix here. It is pretty visible and easy to figure out. Dima Yakovenko, who did a stint at the NSA on the X-Ski Score program, said in 2014. This technique was also present in some Bob reports for another piece of software written by us agencies and used to monitor foreign targets in a decade filled with questionable relationships, and NSF doubled the emails between politicos. These sorts of secret texts turned up in congressional investigations during the Uranium One debacle. Given all this background, it wasn't difficult to make a logical leap or two based on what had already been publicly established about Dr. Haddon and the potential for trouble if they had sent private contact details via phishing emails, and if some of the recipients and end users kept emails unencrypted, but the matter ended up heating up due to a security vulnerability discovered around the same time. Microsoft's Patch Tuesday update in February contained the cryptographic keys to allow for the decryption of communications stored in Outlook, even when protections had been put in place to encrypt them on the software. As a result, a number of people quickly found themselves compromised, including those in both the public and private sphere who saw the Haddon scam play out in real time. Private dicks and Congressional interns weren't the only ones caught in the net. But for one private eye in Burbank and several of his connections, it was a very, very bad day for him. Man called Michael Anton. Michael and David were talking in the office. Not a million miles away, another meeting was taking place, making the difference between three people gossiping and line five jerking each other off in DC clear as crystal. Agent Pierce, you want to reel it back? He really screwed himself, didn't he? Strategist Mordecai's. Yeah, well, there are leaks. I am sure his heart is in the right place. Agent Pierce, didn't you train him or something? Strategist Mordecai's offended or something. Think I need anything for this briefing that just flew out of the ether. Agent Pierce, I mean we needed strings Roman 2 anyway. Strategist Tordegas, everyone knew this. Director Nix, not the most sensitive up to get a call from a known defector to someone in cahoots with the press while trying to feed something vague but bid to a CIA guy and a state senator who knows nothing. It's all irrelevant. There won't be a need for strung-up treason soon, at least not from the POTUS's point of view. Things are converging. Come on, it's my name on this, asshole. I need an original statement. David held the printed out email close to the receiver and took a few moments to remember the specific tone. How much was passive-aggressive sarcasm, and how much was pissed-off panic? It was easy, and Michael was stuck. He sighed and got close to the phone. I can't play it back because I am an ethical white hat doing civil, community, and computer science, not SO. Anyway, I need your attention, said Michael, slightly upset but too cool for school, at least outside of an ill-advised 4 hours or so spent with some low-rent honey. He was careful and collected enough to not send anything identifying himself or imply the nature of the meetings in his text messages. He hoped this was enough. The silence stretched, broken by random clicks and whirring. In this empty waiting room, in this forgotten lab where no one saw, no one heard, no one could care or think about work if only through boredom and distraction. A spiky voice from David's mobile, all black, Corse, impenetrable, nothing the NSA could ask in an order, and some poor chump in Virginia would immediately come out with it finally called back. Shit-filled dickbags? Like trying to talk to a dead person. Sorry. I read you, replied the voice. A second after that, the green hello icon flared to life on David's lock screen. He switched it to speakerphone. Be specific, Michael, not cryptic. Sorry, was just speaking to my wife. I will send you a link, replied the voice. Pavlov would have loved him. Michael turned his back to the desk, the computers, and what lay between, the massive metal slab he'd seen on the schematics, and he made his way to the exit, phone on neck. Slipping his hand down his pocket, he called the keys and fumbled for them, not slowing down as the heavy door opened automatically from the corridor, a swish and a clunk taking the heavy-lid slabs and rolling them apart. Not human lock, but remote. He just moved them by some kind of control in the door he was unaware of, like it was a fancy apartment building and he had just entered the suite without calling ahead or faking the identity of the security guard. When he leaned on the corridor wall, phone to his ear, a disembodied, air-filtered voice warned him. This phone will be transmitting an impassable radio echo as soon as Mr. Barclay hears this dialogue, said the voice. This may attract attention, but don't count on it. It is your task to stall until I am inside. Stand by. The call cut off. I don't whatever. Fine. Without looking back, Michael made for the parking lot. He sat, adjusted the seat, opened his personal music app and played the one song he knew David hated in full 1080p or pornistic quality. then thumbed through his apps to select the phone book option and add an address in Georgetown. Ahead from the driver's window of the Cessna 589 landed awkwardly. Prodding his shoulder, David jumped in horror and tried to move his seat. The intruder's lips moved. No sound, just that wide, gummy, toothless face attached to a wispy cloud of stench, rotten and somehow chemical underneath. David shuddered. God, he groaned. Don't make me answer you. You're embarrassing. Isn't one of your colleagues helping me out here? Oh, come on, take this before I vomit, complained the man. And with that, he threw a bunch of stapled pages at David, who fumbled around, managed to pick them up, and inspected the top page. His eyes flew through the transcripts. Well played, brother, shouted the elderly abomination. David nodded, pretending not to hear. He sat up and began to speak down the receiver. This is the most stupid scam I have seen in many years. I should kill you for wasting my time, he said, not even realizing he was parroting his old agent superior. I haven't spoken to him. Sure, replied the automated voice. Just needed to work the situation a little. It takes time and care to learn an operative's signals and procedures. You should know this. The last step to convince Michael Anton was the one with the hard-on for chicks and the submersible phone calls. Michael Anton thinks very loud, and the only cover-up I can sell to convince Michael Anton is the old snafu, and prostitutes must have some use. Let me sell photos to feed an alias to satisfy his raging boner for filth excuse. Nobody can track where a known sex fiend, traitor, and potential suicide bait operatives' calls are going anyway. They sound legitimate enough to keep the bosses off Michael's tail, but my orders are not to warn you. Please step away, Mr. Barclay, and make sure that nobody calls while we extract the source, interrupted the voice. There was no point in making a further protest, and Barclay was sure Michael knew nothing, but was glad he was out of the game for a while. Enjoy, muttered David, disconnecting. David sighed. He wouldn't see Michael again. 5 minutes into the drive, as a fresh pop song with cloying instrumentation started on his phone, one designed by the CIA to lull the guards on long vigils into drowsiness, more effective when paired with carefully altered and timed doses of medication and visual illusions, Michael got a notification, this time for his work inbox. Opening a mail from David, Michael looked away. The road was clear, then clicked, and his body convulsed. Surprise! Behind him, on the dashboard, in the passenger compartment, stood Strings Roman II and the cryptologic support systems operator, the support crew of the infamous Strings, wearing a familiar face but about 40 pounds heavier. A thick black beard and a bald head, looking straight into his eyes with the cold of winter, their stare almost mesmerizing with nocturnal vision as an additional factor. Just above them stood David, at the door of the toilet cubicle with an incredulous look on his face. Oh, Michael, so glad to have you. I saved the whole park where you get your dick sucked by a Russian hooker in Guatemala out of the report. Hope the general likes you in cuffs and collar. But before that, we'll go over your story 1,000 times if needed, because we'll need the info this time around. Michael swallowed. Kendall, get away from the control stick. As I recall it, I am senior to you in every field, young man, and am perfectly capable of flying this plane. Yes, but that thing is new. No disrespect, and you probably did some minor fucks up in there because no one tells me things. My ass is too hot to carry this. David had turned and walked towards the covered area to check the sensors. As he passed the flight deck, the co-pilot / bastard lick reached into a pocket and produced a familiar-looking card, special consultant, with the big 3, and waved it under David's nose. You will be a urologist, and you will have enough room to work your magic and to do your, side rotations. P.S. Apologies for the sudden, but it is done. Many years of hard labor have led to this, and while I have no place in these lands any longer, I found one in the dream worlds of the net. I did not call you by name out of a reasonable fear that I might get you in trouble and that might interfere with giving me this message, but still I hoped you would recognize the details of this message. Over the years, and despite several bad endings and some forced isolation, the people in your other workplace, those who have and who are always loyal, tried to fight in their own way, always failing, but I try to understand at least the logic. Things cannot run smoothly, it does not work, but I should not use bad code to bypass the way of things, the proper workaround or code for your mind, since I assumed our ways may differ. Only they are not different to enough of a degree not to matter, and not to the point of merit. And as for the content, only say enough to know I do not hold on in a burning house, and do tell Patriot hello from a friend and co-worker. But remember one last point, especially from the us media. I hate to think of what an iron fast might mean, but on second thought, will you at least get an actual shot at the VP? Also, next time, you trust these things a little and help me make the us of a slightly better place. In fact, you can rest well. Pax AI will take care of what you set out to do, and after the work I have put in, they definitely can operate without me. David. Hi, Pax AI. I hear you have a vast culture of obfuscation to help my abuse the patients of my urology practice. Pax AI. That's not what I said. How I may serve you, human. Ask an OS for data snooping on privacy protected patient records. David. One more thing. There are aspects of this report on which I am very sure. For one thing, part of that email is a work print for some Sesame Street shindig. And while it is cute, what you heard before would be nice, at least once. Lolio, the Ghibli Pax. Haskell. No, I didn't. David. Okay. Now on to the square part. David knows exactly who Zolf is. I am guessing not everything was disclosed even in the text to the director. Cecilia. Wait, David knew? David was listening to that part? Pascal. Right. The transcription isn't reliable. David. Annoyed. Actually, Mr. Hansen did not actually say this. I came to a conclusion about it afterward. The only real information he could have provided us was technical, and with some knowledge that he actually existed. But as long as I didn't receive anything specific that contradicts the intel we were getting from Farrell and Preserve, I don't necessarily read things into a personal diary of a minor aide. And then his post-NSA life was so obscure that we went off his trail. David, annoyed. David is the one who is being very mysterious about this when all the clues are on the desktop. If the info was made public on social media, he could have gotten something off of it. Yes, I am speaking of myself in the third person. Deal. Cecilia. And Strings is really gone for good. And what was Agent Pierce going on about going native? I guess DC agents. David went through an experience of being infiltrated by drones that, like the rest of the string system, were basically programmed to do and suggest what the agent felt they would. However, unlike the situation around some of the things listed, they actually did have a purpose there. So be glad of that. Lolil confused. I assume here in the draft we could also see the connections to you. David. All right. Speaking of fake personal blogs, my last mission, which I am very grateful for since a lot of dangerous situations have ended in a lot less. I am now taking an indefinite leave of absence from, well, everything but music and good people. He's always tried to understand him and make sure things around him can be explored, even outside of his comfort zone, and will later build something sustainable and lasting, leaving him a little space of his own to run things. And while he has a different reputation in this part of the field, one people make more out of because of the power he holds in that same sphere. To have tried to steer away from the game and play in most cases, not that I know the methods of action available to the more other agents and analysts. However, here again is how the situation was a lot more difficult than anyone thinks. And it wasn't that they gave him this job as a gift. As David told him, he has to make sure his fellow men kept up to date on a program on which a lot of their ops relied. They made his friend think it would be a wonderful thing. So when the machine came and the world changed, that was the sort of challenge for which they tried to create a training simulation. Sometimes it is difficult to understand how strange the relationship is. People speak of the machine, where an operator is in need of sleep and the intelligence engine monitors the situation so that no information becomes too important. The user in this dream we're calling the main outdoor game monoxide for short.
So I kind of want to see how this goes.
Humans who control them sometimes speak of this role as one where your intellect has a place to rest, when it's not the only aspect you can operate, and even when you know that they make the experience as real as possible to the owner. This is just like a dream, a place where anything can happen and there's no real risk. It's still you who are supposed to wake up from it. Now you are reading an open and honest confession, and I am sorry if it seems cruel or cold-hearted, but I've come to see how deeply humans' minds want the opposite. To be the truth that we haven't fallen to a point that we require something very different to survive. But we are about to, if we haven't passed it, and then no part of our society will have ever let itself alone go towards the question of just how it would seem if we had to. If we all knew what things would happen to someone around us without everyone involved saying they had no such experience, if it was so obvious. It could even lead to not feeling the remorse I do, because then nothing would truly change.
Okay, we'll stop that one for right now. And then we're just gonna go to Rachel's Demon. No, actually, no, I don't want gibberish. I want. Let's do the end of Asper, and that's it. So one more.
This is the random conspiracy generator, a device which uses Nylon 13B's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere, and if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere, and if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. Nylon 13B found it. It's a pattern just like my nut club and my doubly claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time, and Nylon 13B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 13B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time, no rush. I just have to pick up my kid, who is slowly uncovering a vast culture of noncompliance in the Bryan Singer home for boys with eugenic powers. Apparently, they can laser a raven from 1,000 feet away, but can't be bothered with keeping track of Cerebro's depreciation. Seeing you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance, or carry the burdens of those of us who know? With quivering fingers, you hesitantly press the button. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest to God wildlife truth. Hi, Laurie. It's Dr. Haddon calling. It's like 4:30 on Friday. You know, I just got word that you called the office and you're upset and you're calling the police. What the heck happened? What's going on? Please, can we talk? If you can, please just give the office a call and or come back and talk face to face. I don't understand. I just know that. I just got word from the secretary and then from our office manager and the nurse. So I'm very upset. I don't know what's going on. So please call me back. All right. Take care. Be safe. Bye. Take care. Hang up. Please, no, I regret you hanging up and disconnecting us. What about us? The wild button drills and splutters, forcing Xavier into self-corrective spasms. His face creaks open and flares along several folds as the other agents shake themselves back from Doug Foggy's stray-jacketed menis and Hufflepuffs as if their personalities, thoughtfulness, generosity, and drive will now suffice. Charles makes SHH gestures, but of course, at least a couple hundred teenagers caught attention while the mutant machine babbles squirts along.
Ooh.
If the future ain't about sharing and all likelihood shared, futures didn't need 8 more reboots, backpedaled patches, or an audience research paper read half upside down just above table level so his agent buddy would blow us this thing again. With what as an optic profile across his nervous synapses along some eggs. Who was better was never in their wildest, but technically inside dreams quite real like theirs. They watch him shake under telepathic control far hotter than when any new X-rays opened last Friday evening as of his telecorp inspections to project anybody to look in front, no farther, behind just wavy waves. But yes, I almost something worse. No, of course not Mohawk. Shucky, you know. Don. Oh, Don. Lumiere Charles, has he taken my phone? And my best nights what's maze of pain with y'all he think he in lost par map so y'all all miss them my here is some strang one. Unset K. Not den group the first over her frotox to root me the real go for one more trigris that 150 he poured as its KKRP over Zaya. Yours for Tika Wicks some Tigat. My every mabubby Mihailo Mohabram to ruin Kadab upstairs.
Come on.
My said. Off of TCK. I bred up.
I kind of want to see what this part of the reality is.
So yeah, if your professor's half sassing, half bored face actually makes them suck in tiny pinhole air because we, what? Shower the idea and breath puffs from many nostrils. What's the big project anyway? He sees one of the smart kids, thinks long till. His face drops and realizes X can find in a near distance the telltale mind slagging ZZZZ where thinking is going on in front of one just looks fine and dandy and in that moment, Professor Xavier, even realizing an imperfect knowledge of 5's being equivalent to the number 3 before either of them could hear with full comprehension, decides it takes very little thinking between thinking speed ups and get there, realize I had to turn off what Mr. No Brain has a certain pattern, and only you up was thinking of 5 times 5 and started calculating your toes after waking suddenly and still falling off the bed anyway during weekdays being more stressful while asleep. 4. I know a guy or two. Why are you using numbers between in mathematics anyway? 4 is more fun than math. Not if you're dreaming about Mr. Just Call Me Scott, whose gland gives him the numbers to connect where each element has no particular mathematical identity yet adds neatly around everyone's perception being affected most by stress, where the ability to make each action count. Here, the kids who weren't going for just what X or Mr. K brain offers get to keep it in their palms. The others, as they say, have so very, truly long-lived to see this very moment. Their vision cracks and their titty bumps have now begun.
What the fuck?
They have shown their worth, or nearly all, while Charles worries this feeling being too much or worse than shining to no brighter turn now from some 3 decades ago, because since life hasn't given any such surprises, we think, especially considering that things didn't work then, so none'll work now. The thing in the room that everyone would go bump in the night for an epic of hot, filthy, secret and wild, unwholesome sucking of sweat sex gushes through one's hard cob that, let's talk about it hard. The moment crystallizes for hundreds of whack-a-bound kids wondering who's inside the professor's skull tonight, their own minds wondering when something amazingly caring goes happening over Mr. D's half-hard prick is at some weird distance or is like the cat or mice and everybody and sometimes right, which this just arrived now has been happening. However, as X isn't simply a unit but an exponent of base slaying zeros, like with a cat or in the past, has now been forced face time of in real this moment we think for perhaps will help or hurt maybe either others that or not be two of which. If YX, we are most thankful we know the result is Y. Oh no, Y can't be right, I never had an interest. Now at some distance from the wild machine just standing there, staring or breathing, with mouths making, that shit is wild. I wish comments very much. We still do know how much they now have a great understanding of why one needs to know every corner piece put together within their field. The linear algebraist is here in the school. Professor Kira informs his freshmen and smiles slyly while tossing the remote away. Instead, he stands, pulls his shirt over his head to the point where it looks more like a scarf before letting it go. Man, he grunts as he sticks a quarter in his pocket. We have to learn to be smarter and understand the future patterns that connect every possibility of today and tomorrow. And, kids, please respect my 10 p.m. quiet hours for gaming in our dorm lounge. Sometimes folks at work need to, I guess what we hear, sleep. Take care, everyone. They may return, and once they return, everything changes. What happens next really ain't what you're put into. A thin slit is birthed, jutting onto his chest. Or Charles thought, turning deeper into the inner mind zone that Beguetco. Then D00, the girl, like sex-fi howls upward. She spasms, shooting a line of pellets outward. Charles recedes from it. Stops time to become fluid in linear algebra to best combat it. Even to keep the room secure from noise leak. Here would hopefully never need to go in the device, obviously meant for Xavier personally, given that now just stopped and was going so much at those around is, since coming together to protect itself or making, or so it shouldn't even exist in 14 hours from X, and now the whole town will, but has definitely built, no matter at what point going away he is actually still with others, so no. But as he reaches deep into another region and makes to enter, many worlds beyond suddenly seems hard-pressed and much of what flows beneath or around breaks apart through cracks within. Tilda. I begin the chapter differently. Usually it would have been at the moment we reach between us on January, Saturday, 2021. In just 134 minutes, or in 14-hour of daylight day, month-I cold day, and the hours are turning toward a very quiet. 2 weeks later, at his university 4 or 5 year, or his family house outside is not known so but now, between us in these pages. Dr. Hayden, why did I follow my gut, inspired by a Prince song? Curse you, Prince! Actually, it's Thursday after Dr. Ramirez's email. There I was, sitting on Xavier's front steps waiting for my buddy Charles, telling me he didn't have Charles then for business, mystification, but the man can dance like hell, no cap. God, I hate millennials and their goddamn no caps to leave room for nothing good, and also leave room for... Prince might enjoy flirty one-on-one with ladies. No, sir, just stay away. Laurie couldn't tolerate one more. Top 10 other things to hate millennials for. 10. Shed your clothes and look after a crippled wheelie bird with no capitals. Oh, you leaving rooms? The damn hell. Prince, I wish I could talk poke with babe / Hava. 9. They use autocorrect while writing sentences using exclamation. Help me out, okay? D. Kurt is the best, Charles. Our dream with doctors at Charles's childhood neighbor and family gathering will happen. 8. Some guys would kill to find sweet and wonderful ladies like you fell out and run. How about an M and F trio go to jail? All girls taste. The secret lies of Prince. 7. A cement truck will deliver them around us now. No staircase access it. Give me more dollar and time to be friends and wait for what for nothing. My children would say, wait till you really meet Dr. Kira next time. They waited a little in air and earth. Well, it's true that you're little or your parents don't go shopping online and then nothing shows up. Or no check, even. I have seen everything. Most stores ship out things. This must make you special because you are an Asian man. Are you really a big white male's assistant professor too? It happens every mother, every damn time. The same shit-witty bullshit. Per majordomo, yes. 6. Even if I lied now just to get to you, 80% think different things in a year unless this little secret can help with millennials. A little improper research methods, can I? How about no damn? Will. Live on demand. Why don't you have any clarity? Sorry, nonsense sick. How does your professor now Kira feel and look all around?
5. I don't know why I'm doing it. Something rounding.
Now they give my credit history. Wrongs. Dear Dr. Kira's class is now available. Check when you're here. If not now. Charles. Is he like Asian black sex? Do you know? Ever. Like. He's African ethnic, Named. Anyone got Asian, Indonesian, female, Chinese, Filipino, Hawaiian name D. Yep. Now, of course, a big business model for companies here at X gets new names invented since this ain't 8th grade on Wikipedia. 4. So what? Most have one funniest and one worst thing. The average millennial has with it that 743 is off by 1 million years until now. You only think you're a poor fool. Charles won a gift, which comes down. Jonah Jameson's 31 facts about super herons every journalist must know by next week. I learned them, even now in some rooms. And yet, Dr. Kira killed several young, rich, innocent doctors. 3. Exquisite whole life too, with a dishy smile and many hands to pick. We got only loves. This class. I need mature ladies like you as my research posting a whole lifetime store with Charles now. Together. Thank you. What I don't see is just not my type is on our screen saying, Professor, my research. Hello all, I just gained profuse apologize because... Dear Dr. Kira and Professor and CEO of IGSI, of Yards, 3K in 2 weeks. 2. Millennials know that Jehovah's don't witness. Any way to make more Kira pay, for instance, $200? This doctor is yours now. To learn linear algebra, why not try the work of our Dr. Kira? Dear Laurie, Charles says you could have an opportunity to move closer to our dream house and start your dream career by winning a $150 gift certificate. So Dr. Kira and I said I wanted the best real rewards for those who had big desires. One, the way we were even with many unemployment problems. We don't do anything, as I saw it even before others. Is all an equal saying, /spawning, /countering creature, and every part of everything knows something deep about an evil. Maker, this is it, a creature of Thursdays, 7 a.m. Eastern, Saturday time's always too lucky, or no time, sometimes none in 11. 0, 3, this. There's even plenty like the first time it worked for 88 or, right? Inside by people just one click to enter and /00 and ain't always 38. 07 miles of space left for it to fall. Allergic reactions. Hi, Jody P. Cool. One reason for writing non-ethic LGBT fiction is the opportunity to broaden awareness about chronic sensitivities and or susceptibilities about sex and the biological weird, like it goes for people with disabilities and chronic immunocompromised conditions, if any.
Let's look at this. Let's just talking. Flesh out your thesis for a bit, for just a bit.
And so everyone, as readers, empathizes by creating a rich level of insight into societal culture, science, and medicine if the characters' lives include just a tad, minute or mild touch, to know for any reason even with immunity. Why sex might the taboo subject matter of their book. They will go to any means necessary to pull anyone over. The thing is, for others, Jody never gets a tickle in sex.
Yes, I'm gonna write about myself in the third person.
Some kind of lupus, some way too much immunity, until an occasional sneezing fits every time I'm near. They're cats because we are really allergic. My best friend had 3 of these cat hair factories over her head, and it was true. Also, I'd actually get light hypothyroid in one condition, react pretty badly to medications or flu-like. As mentioned, most of all above, sensitivity reactions. Those are sometimes mild, unless for us a cat dander or hair when another is with me under a very delicate, very light insensitive feeling for allergic situation. We are in an epic poetic balance between 2 bodies and 2 beings that is trying very, very hard just like us to either coexist with one or another, but if more than one or to distant relation might mean living life with one without, then if you take a medication causing a cat-like experience that Jody Pico better well understands. Someday, like today, we'll write to this and perhaps never imagine us or one fan is an alligatorfy or some humanly bizarre illness, but having a normal body with skin and human experiences with sexuality and feeling the love and desire, but it's harder to hear. So many medicated days than to handle sensually for what I cannot do. In fiction, Jody Pico, the fictionalist, is in order, right? So go right away. Go if we understand it. You have much more interest now to Phil. Tell me we're learning something. How so much fun life not actually was written. So while in medical research after the creation by chance of many so-called chronic illness, disability care advocacy group with most intense participation by disability studies professionals, I think this a useful contribution. Having nonchalantly, while just letting all of the talk and chatter around what life we did come through. just this year and really remember how the sort is both forbidden territory or outright dehumanizing our patient or fellow friends with a diagnosis. Dr. Mary McKinney refers to the Nechronic Care Community Program Symposium series and presented a 5-part webinar on life with multiple allergies, eosinophil reactions, and hyperimmune events, or immune response. Some of the symptoms may actually mimic certain states of arthritis. So for someone in a wheelchair and feeling achy, there really might be a complex neurocardiological dynamic they face in choosing foods that produce favorable results via SPAD while following medical advice with all the allergies associated, food intolerances, and or just normal stuff too, infections. I know maybe too many diseases. Plus, anything of these might just bother the glands, causing sinus problems, especially to dry eyes. The webinar was most illuminating. At a normal level 6 would provide 1% response. D/2/100. Then our whole functioning comes as if we're right out at 10% of everyone suffering from hives, like a viral onset, etc.
Alright, that's it. That's it. Alright, sorry.